All right, welcome back everybody to Altcoin Daily. My name's Austin. Today I want to update you with the latest information on the Bitcoin death cross, on Ethereum's upcoming London hard fork. Like always, support the channel. Check the timestamps down below in the video description. And let's start with this recent interview on Bloomberg TV of SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce. In this first clip out of 3, listen to the SEC Commissioner's thoughts on how the US plans to regulate cryptocurrency in 2021. She talks about oversight of the spot markets, a Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF, as well as token distribution methods. This clip is short, but sweet. Watch this.
What can we expect from the SEC when it comes to crypto regulation, and what are your top priorities?
Well, it's a little too early for me to tell you what to expect in terms of what our new chairman is planning to do on crypto. He has been quite outspoken already about wanting to have some oversight of the spot markets, whether that's the SEC or another federal regulatory agency. But with respect to what we're going to do at the SEC, I hope that we can provide clarity in a few different areas. One would be, I've put out a token safe harbor to give some clarity around token distribution events. I think we need to approve an exchange traded product based on Bitcoin. And frankly, we've gotten new applications in on based on ETH as well. And then we need to provide some clarity around custody for regulated entities. So for broker dealers and investment advisors. So those are some of the areas I'd like us to take action in.
All right. Interesting. Like I said, short and sweet, but very interesting that we have access to how the SEC, at least one of the top members, views cryptocurrency in 2021. Now, we'll get to Ripple XRP, the lawsuit, in a sec. That is our next clip. But my takeaways from the first clip is, one, the SEC is very aware that a Bitcoin ETF is inevitable. It's not a question of if, but when for Bitcoin. And Ethereum is on the radar as well as an ETF. Let's keep moving and talk about clip number 2, how Hester Peirce sees XRP, Ripple, and this looming lawsuit on whether or not it's an unregistered security. Watch this.
So that leads to the question, XRP has been on the market for 8 years. When does a digital asset become a security or maybe something else? And how does the SEC determine that?
Well, I think that is a difficult question, and it's something that I've also, again, tried to get us to be a little bit more precise. When we think about a crypto asset, a digital asset as being a security, what we're doing is we're saying that we think it's being sold as part of an investment contract, which means that there are promises being made around the sale of that asset. Doesn't mean that the asset itself necessarily has to be a security. It means that it was being sold as a security. Then the question becomes, at what point can someone sell that asset as not as a security? And that is a very difficult line.
When it comes to...
And that's the clip. That's where they cut her off. I know, I'm as peeved as you are that they're cutting this short, clearly editing these interviews. But what we were allowed to hear, it does sort of shed some insight on the middle ground you can find with a cryptocurrency like XRP. Just like we saw them find a middle ground with EOS, the token, Block 1 ended up having to pay a fine to the SEC. In this case, we could see an outcome where XRP, the token, may be deemed fine, while how Ripple originally distributed, or maybe the promises they made early on, that may be deemed an unregistered security offering. The company may have to pay a fine and the token may be fine. That's sort of the middle ground that Hester Peirce may be alluding to. Give me your thoughts on this down below. But last clip I want to play you before we get to the recent news is Hester Peirce comments on a United States CBDC, as well as, is cryptocurrency a risk to traditional finance? Watch this. Nice to get these insights.
What do you think the odds are for a central bank digital currency?
Well, certainly there will be a CBDC, whether or not from the U.S. I'm not the one to answer that question. The Fed has said that they're thinking about it, and so I expect we'll see the fruits of that thought as they try to engage with the public on it. Other central banks are coming up with CBDCs, and I think it's a natural progression of money that we'll see people moving into CBDCs. Now, there are a lot of questions around them. There are questions around privacy. There are questions around whether people will feel comfortable using a CBDC or would prefer to use private stablecoins. And those are questions that certainly in the United States we're going to have to wrestle with, because we really do care about financial privacy.
Does it mean that crypto could be a real systemic risk to the traditional financial world?
The traditional financial world has obviously brought society really important benefits. And I think as we see crypto mature, it's going to open more doors to more people to participate with the financial system. And that's a good thing. That's something that we should encourage, right? And so do we have to watch out for risks? That's what regulators do all the time. We're going to be watching for risks no matter whether they come from the traditional financial system, whether they come from the decentralized financial system, or whether they come from some combination of the two. But I think these concerns that there's something inherent about crypto that should have us scared from a systemic perspective are overblown.
All right. Give me your thoughts down below. Like I said, support the content, and let's keep moving. Next up, we gotta talk about this Bitcoin death cross. The death cross is here. Let's study this chart to see what happened the last two times the death cross happened, in Q4 of 2019 and Q1 of 2020, because this is not new. We have actually had a Bitcoin death cross 6 times, I believe, in Bitcoin's lifetime. And for clarity, because this channel always likes to demystify the cryptocurrency market, the death cross is when the 50-day moving average crosses below the 200-day moving average, usually signifying very bearish price movement. Sort of shows the momentum of the market. And here it is. This is where we are. Well, let's check this out and look at what occurred the last 2 times. Here is where we are with Bitcoin today. This top line is the 50-day moving average, bottom is the 200-day. The last time this occurred was the pandemic crash of 2020, obviously a bloodbath in the market. Actually, zooming in, we can see the death cross actually happened a few days, if not a week or two, after the huge crash of March 2020. We were actually recovering the week the death cross happened, and then the 50 and the 200 flipped back to bullish a few weeks later. Well, that was the Q1 2020 death cross. What happened with the Q4 2019 death cross? Like right here. As you can see, nothing much. I mean, we were consolidating, nothing out of the ordinary from what happened the months before or the months after. I guess you can say in retrospect, we actually did take a dip those weeks after, but in the grand scheme of things, not that big a deal to me. I guess how this affects you is just be prepared for volatility. Remember, the short-term price action of Bitcoin, to me, it's a distraction. Keep hodling, keep accumulating, think big picture. And if we're looking at all 6 times this death cross happened, historical death crosses, if we average everything out and take the mean, not the median, but the mean, the average, historically Bitcoin trends up. Give me your thoughts on this. It's nice to see the numbers. I love this type of clarity. And as I get more facts and statistics as we watch this, like this, I'll keep you updated. Next piece of news for Ethereum. Ethereum upgrade, which will reduce ETH's supply, moves into the final stages. So this is referring to the London Hardfork, which one component of the London Hardfork is EIP 1559. And it is about to launch on testnet. Now the London Hardfork, the main one, should be ready in July, but it will hit the Ropsten testnet next week. Here are the details. Tim Bako of the Ethereum Foundation announced today that London will go live on the Ropsten testnet around June 24th, followed by the Go Early on June 30th, and then the Rinkeby on July 7th. All dates are estimated and could shift slightly depending on how long it takes blocks to be mined. So this is happening, and in a direct quote, once the upgrade has successfully been activated on these networks, a block will be set for the Ethereum mainnet. That should be in July. Okay, so how this affects you as an Ethereum holder, just be on the lookout that this is happening. And also keep in mind that this London Hardfork upgrade will implement 5 separate Ethereum improvement proposals, EIPs, and EIP 1559 is just one of them, one of 5. Now the other 4 are just basic optimizations, basic upgrades, nothing too different. It's EIP 1559 though that will reduce the ETH supply with every transaction. A little bit of ETH will get burned and potentially make ETH deflationary. I'll keep you updated. That is the video. My name's Austin. Like always, see you tomorrow. Happy Father's Day.